Welcome, friends and fans, to another edition of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And yes, today we are going back to Camp Crystal Lake, the sewers of New York, and to hell itself with 5 of the cast and creators of the Friday the 13th film and television series. And now is the time for all of you in our chat room to begin typing in your questions for them. Immediately after this session, you will have the opportunity to talk to them directly through our private chat options, as well as shop our selection of personalized autographs, all of which are available now at GalaxyCon.com. So without further ado, let's bring them out. Our first guest is an actress, appearance agent, and advocate of Tai Chi, whose body of work includes The Guild, Silver Spoons, and of course, Buck Rogers in the 24th Century. Today, though, she joins us to discuss the role of Jason Voorhees' half-sister, Diana Kimball, in Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Please welcome back Erin Gray.
Hey there. Nice to see you again. And by the way, it's the 25th century.
25th century, that's right.
That's okay.
How did I lose that?
I don't know.
I was getting ready for a Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
There you go.
That's how I got stuck in it. Erin, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Really doing well. Thanks.
I'm so glad to have you here. And yeah, you're right. It was just a couple months ago. We sat here for our Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Yes.
And we were able to share the screen with Felix, who just passed us recently.
Yeah, I know. I'm so glad we had this last moment with him. It's it's always sad when you lose somebody who is so close to you and you have so many memories with. But I'm sure he's in a good place. He was a good man. And
I adored it. I adored our conversation, and the internet just went alight with fans and convention regulars who just had nothing but glowing stories about sharing a booth space with him or green rooms and stuff like that. So it's hard to believe, because he was just always so full of energy and always traveling around almost every weekend, and it was just it came on quickly. It really did. Yeah. It did. Well, he's in a better place, and we will miss him, and we'll always have his incredible body of work.
Yeah.
Indeed. Same as we have your body of work as well. Because again, thank you for joining us here today. And let's bring on our next. She is an actress whose credits include Walk Like a Man, April Fool's Day, and the very undervalued series, The Powers of Matthew Starr. Today, she joins us to discuss her role of professional Pamela Voorhees impersonator, Virginia Field, Ginny to her friends. Please welcome Amy Steele.
Hi, the underbelly of series. I love that.
The undervalued.
Oh God, I thought you said underbelly.
No.
Funnier.
No, I was a legitimate fan of Matthew Starr. I mean, yeah, too. It was one of Leonard Nimoy's first directing gigs. So he got that, and of course got to work with Louis Gossett. That.
Yeah, no, you're not alone in that, in having that sort of like secret fan club out there of Matthew Starr. So that's good.
It like a lot of good shows, especially at that time. It was there. I'm glad for what we had.
You are so positive. I just love that.
Good, thank you, Amy. How are you?
I am doing great. I live in a really, really beautiful place where the air is fresh, and finally it just rained a little bit today, so it's that kind of like, oh my God, the grass is growing and the flowers are blooming, and so there's lots of clean air, and so I'm doing very, very well, and I'm really happy to be here. This is my first experience with this online deal, and so far so good. Everyone's been so great, from the tech setup, and
good.
This could be very cool. Yeah.
Don't worry. We have plenty of opportunities to disappoint you, so bear with me.
Positive after all.
Well, we're Friday the 13th, so we got to get dark and malicious and bad.
Exactly.
Although you survived, so you're okay.
Of course. And I will survive this. I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we can survive this. He is an actor whose credits include The Twilight Zone, Tour of Duty, and E-Ring. Today, he joins us to discuss 2 roles in the annals and the canon of Friday the 13th. Stephen Freeman in Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, and Ryan Dallion in Friday the 13th, the series. Please welcome John Delaman.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello. Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. It's wonderful to be here.
Oh, so glad to have you here. I'm just gonna put it out there right now. I loved Friday the 13th, the series. I think that was equally. It needs a resurgence. It needs more people to rediscover it, in my opinion.
Well, thank you very much. I had a blast doing it. It was a fun show to do for the 2 years that I did it, and it's ironic that show shouldn't have been called Friday the 13th, the series, since there was no Jason in it. And our show, Jason Goes to Hell, couldn't use Friday the 13th in its title, I guess. That's what I just found out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Isn't that ironic? I don't know.
Wow.
Huh.
Is that right? Maybe Sean will tell us that.
Yeah, about to say. Yeah, that's.
Because I thought it would say Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. In other words, the full.
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
That's
I don't know. This guy,
right.
Sean, he'll know.
All right. But before we bring him out, let's bring out the actor, stuntman, and producer whose credits include the Hatchet film series, Fear Clinic, and numerous stunt roles. Today, he joins us to discuss his time as Jason Voorhees himself in 4 installments of the Friday the 13th series, including Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Please welcome back Kane Hodder.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you doing, Kane?
Doing great. I'm very happy. I'm up in the clean air as well, Amy. I'm up in the mountains in Utah. Built a house up here a couple of years ago, so enjoying it very much.
Yeah, awesome. Well, glad to have you back. Glad you're settled into your new place. I see you're rocking the poster behind you.
Yeah, I got to put that up there. Not all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
In New York,
That's a little much, but.
I know. I see. Well, Kane, glad to have you back. Glad to have you back in good health and good spirit.
Happy to be back.
Mm-hmm. And finally, he is a writer, director, producer whose body of work includes The Last House on the Left, Deep Star 6, and House. Today, he joins us as the producer and director of the original Friday the 13th and producers on so many more. Please welcome Sean Cunningham.
Hi.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am well in my corner of the world. Glad to see you doing well. And I'll throw this out. I think A Stranger is Watching is really a great film, and I think that doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Well, you're nice to say that.
Well, it was either that or Spring Break.
Yeah, well, Spring Break.
I like Spring Break for different reasons, especially when I was 12.
For what reasons, I wonder? And by the way, I'm glad you weren't referring to Amy's work as the underbelly of anything, because I consider myself the underbelly of horror. So I don't want anyone else taking that from me.
We're not going to take that from you. This was sci-fi, young. You take the horror genre. I'll take 80s series.
There you go.
There you go, indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the GalaxyCon virtual stage. As always, we here at GalaxyCon are looking forward to the day when we can host you on our physical stages and get you back in front of your fans. And I think as a society, we see that light at the end of the tunnel. We're not there yet, but we're getting there, and we cling to that optimism. So we have this electronic forum. Our team is going to the chat room right now. Before we hit those questions, real quick, I would just like to throw this out. You've all been involved in very different facets of the Friday the 13th series. Just what's been your favorite memory from being a part of it?
Well, my favorite memory is Sean Cunningham calling me up and saying, "What do you mean you don't want to do my film?" And I don't do horror. I don't watch horror. I find life scary enough. And he says, "Well, it's not a horror film." I said, "What do you mean it's not a horror film?" He said, "No, it's a black comedy." I went, "What?" And he said, "Trust me. You're going to go to Grauman's Chinese Theater, and you're going to sit there with the crowd, and they're all going to be talking back to the screen, and they're going to say, 'It's behind the door, dummy,' and they're all going to be at a party, and it's not going to be scary at all."
Okay. It was supposed to be scary. It just wasn't.
Now,
we got some good stuff.
When you went to the premiere, was he right?
He was right. Absolutely right. Nobody was afraid. They were all big Friday the 13th fans. They knew every hidden message or pattern of whatever was going on, and they were talking back to the screen. But I think it was more Sean's sort of up attitude and positive attitude that attracted me to doing the role, even though I don't. My family makes fun of me, like I'm hiding under behind the chair. I can't take it.
Now, when you popped up on the screen, did somebody yell, "Hey, it's Wilma Deering"?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I gotta say, for me, it's amazing to me. The more time that passes, the more time I discover how much this series of films that Sean created means to so many different people. It's just, I'm constantly meeting people who are just in awe of it, and God, the fact that I got to participate in it was terrific.
Yeah, I agree. I
think I'm still shocked. Like even today, once again, shocked that how much people appreciate, enjoy, dissect this series. It's always surprising to me. And I remember the premiere for me was in New York on East 86th. And Aaron, like you, I had no idea what was going to happen. I just remember people around me saying, "Don't go in there, you dumb B word. You dumb bitch, don't do that. What are you doing? She's so what? What?" Anyway, they enjoyed it. It was like a roller coaster ride. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm on the bus here.
And you, again, your character in part 2, you had a very, very seminal scene in Friday the 13th history. Again, like tricking, confusing him, mom,
It was a Chinatown reference.
Yeah.
Forget it, Jake. It's Camp Crystal Lake.
Right.
As far as my memories, there are so many regarding the franchise that, being a stuntman, you don't often get any notoriety for anything other than within the stunt community. So once I did part 7 and realized that everybody was like talking about this new guy that played Jason and everything changed, I wasn't prepared for how much it changed. And fortunately, the fact that I did 3 more films after that as the character just increased all of that exponentially. And I have so many fun memories, but the one I always talk about is being in Times Square in the full costume with hundreds of people watching and just feeling like a rock star because people, if I just looked in their direction, they'd go nuts.
Yeah.
I never took the hockey mask off and stuff. And it was just incredibly amazing because part 7, we were, out in the woods in Alabama where nobody even knew where we were. And then we did interiors in LA. So there was no fans watching or anything. So it was completely different. And I've done so many films with Sean. I feel very fortunate. I'm not even sure how many we've done, Sean, but it's a good amount, all the house movies and everything else. So I've just been very, very fortunate and appreciate everything that's ever come my way.
Very good too. I think we talked last time about going around Times Square as Jason, and that was before Times Square had been cleaned up as we know it now. It was still the tail end of the dirty years, so that must have added an extra layer of interest.
Because there was a story I just recently talked about that I never mentioned before about somebody trying to steal my mask while we were shooting.
My God.
And because, I would take it off away from where everybody could see, and somebody tried to take it and things didn't go well for him. So, but I never talked about that until just in the last year because I was worried about repercussions, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't have said it before either, but.
Oh, well.
Oh, hey, no, don't you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spin in the wind, you don't pull the mask of the old Lone Ranger or Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, too close to home, huh?
Oh, you won't. So, Sean, what's your takeaway from all of this?
Oh, well,
Moments.
all this stuff happened, and it's hard to imagine that. Mostly, I was just trying to make a little movie at Crystal Lake, which would be enough to keep the lights on for 6 months, and so I could keep going on with my vibrant career doing children's films. And that was sort of like the grand plan, and clearly it became something very different. So much of it, is just doing the right things at the right time. It's just luck, and I'm just very grateful that I was as lucky as I was and was able to do a bunch of other things because of it.
To do children's films? I didn't know this. Children's? You want to just do children's films? That was
I at the time I had done a very bad baseball movie called
Here Come the Tigers.
And then we reconceived a similar story about kids playing soccer. It was going to be the underdogs against the overdogs, and that.
Oh.
It was a nice little movie, but it wasn't. Let me get rid of this. Damn it! It was a nice little movie, and it got optioned. They were going to make a TV series out of it, and I said, "Yeah, but what are we going to do now?" And it became Friday the 13th, and then everything, sort of spun out of that.
Hey, Sean, I don't think I've ever asked you this, but after that first film, was there a single moment where you realized that everything was going to change? Was it like opening night of the film, or before it opened, or when did you see that?
Yes, I think that I mean, it wasn't one of those things where you deliberately, set out to try to make a hit movie. There was no precedent for it. But when it opened, in the opening couple of days, there were a lot of people came to the theater, but they loved the ending. And when they came out, they were laughing and punching each other, and it all, it just felt sort of like a party. And I knew that the numbers were high, but I didn't know what that meant really, except that I looked like I was going to be able to pay the rent and the mortgage for the next, several months. And then, then we see after that. Then they hired Amy, and everything changed.
That's right.
That was the beginning. That's when the whole thing just, came up a level.
Amy, did you audition for Sean, Amy?
No, with Steve.
Oh.
Steve Miner.
Yeah.
Sean, I got a question for you. One of your earlier films was called The New Kids.
Yes.
And ever since, it's always been on my IMDb page. 1985, there was a John LeMay that was cast in The New Kids, but it's not me.
Oh.
And they won't take it. I think because that John LeMay, I had to put the D in when I joined SAG.
I was almost going to do that. I was almost going to bring you guys out together because I remember The New Kids, and I was like, so you guys work together in The New Kids? And yeah, no, okay, all right.
No.
Wow.
All right.
Well, Sean, you're going to have them take down that John LeMay or whatever off of
whoever that is.
You don't even
probably some Florida extra.
Hey, I'm in Florida. What do you mean? So
John was saying that our movie Jason Goes to Hell didn't have Friday the 13th in the title. Is that true? Was there a reason why, or?
No, I don't. I was trying to think back. There wasn't. I don't think that there was any reason that it couldn't say Friday the 13th, but we didn't. I mean, we tried, Jason in Space or The Final Friday or whatever. We were just dancing around the fact that we were just making sequels. But I don't remember. I don't remember that there was any kind of a reason not to call it Friday the 13th. And if you say Jason Goes to Hell, at that point, everybody knew what you're talking about. And that's what they were going to see. They were going to see Jason, and they continue to want to see Jason. I had, it was a long time before I could really get my mind around that. But it was,
you guys, my brother just is cleaning out his attic. We sold my mom's house and blah, blah, blah. So I got this whole case of stuff that they just sent to me. And I just looked in the top of it and I just found my original script.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I mean, you can smell it. It's original.
Wow.
But on the inside, it says that.
Oh, wow.
That was the subtitle originally?
I guess so. I don't know. I mean,
Wow.
Jason in quotes and
Well, it makes sense as the mom was the killer, and Jason pops up at the end of the first one. So
Right.
yeah.
So
And I found Stationery.
oh yeah, classic.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I found like how I wrote out that very last scene of what
Oh,
to say.
What?
That's so cool.
That's amazing.
I know, huh? Like so
Mommy. Oh.
it's pretty fascinating. So yeah, so
Wow.
it was Jason back then, or I don't know.
that is really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
And what's interesting is, as I said, I just sold my house in Calabasas and we've been there 25 years. So I had stuff stashed in every corner of the house. And I came across some stuff too. I came across the Day Out of Days for Part 7, where it was, the location, each scene that we're shooting, the shooting schedules, my original script also. But yeah, that's fun to find that stuff.
Yeah,
Wow.
it really is.
That is cool. Well, producers, let me know. We're good to go on our audience questions. So what do you say we roll out the first one? And this is going to come from Errol. Wants to know what Jason look is your favorite? And we've got part 2, the burlap bag on the head.
That's my answer.
And then part 3, he adopted the signature hockey mask, and then variants of them since then. So
That's not really 3 though.
No. This is
That's remake, isn't it?
I
Or
believe.
Freddy versus probably.
Yes, it is. Look at you! Wow, yeah.
Somebody
My
knows their
favorite
mask.
version
It was yeah.
was Part 7, the look of Part 7, I think. And then also I really enjoyed Part 3. Portrayal. I really did as a fan. I loved Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
So who made the decision to go with a hockey mask?
Steve Miner.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
And yeah, yeah, you have to dial all the way back to the day where we made sort of a realistic, horror film like 10 Little Indians, and Pamela Voorhees is apparently the killer. And then this thing pops up from the lake and it's Jason. Okay, what is he? And now you're trying to put some sort of rational explanation over the fact that he could have lived the last 20 years under the water. Or who knows? And then that was, which led to putting a sack over his head, and which was a start. But Steve and I talked about it at length, and we felt that it was important that we didn't really feature Jason's real face or certainly didn't want to initially, because Jason was meant to be the boogeyman, which is sort of like faceless, dark, horror figure that can't ever be sort of stopped. And Steve, in between, or actually started before the original Friday, had done some editorial work for the National Hockey League, and those game of the week things, and he cut them and did all that stuff. So, and he knew a lot about hockey, and he just said, well, how about a hockey mask? And it's like, it doesn't make, it makes as much sense as a potato sack, I guess. and it was just, it was convenient, and we just never looked back. And nobody ever explained why he, is wearing that. And that was how.
And the irony, of course, is that they don't use those hockey masks anymore.
Right. And whose idea was the sack then, Sean?
I don't know. At that point, I was just shaking my head because none of it made any sense to me. I was sort of, based in reality, and I didn't know why would he wear a potato sack instead? A flour sack I could understand, but a potato sack is crazy.
Camp Crystal Lake in Idaho.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. So I think the sack look works out because in this version it's implied that he may be deformed, but he's still human, and he's this kooky mountain man, deranged sort of fellow. So that puts flour sack, potato sack, burlap, whatever on his head, and it made sense. And then in 3, and then going forward is kind of unkillable machine. Yeah, they both fit. They both fit. They fit the narrative of that particular film. How's that?
Right.
All right. Who else wants to chime in on a favorite? John, you got one?
Oh my gosh. Jason Goes to Hell, of course. That man was the scariest thing you'd ever want to stand next to. It was funny doing that show. He was stunt coordinator on it also. Kane was. And I had a blast doing that fight scene with you. And of course, we choreographed it all without all of his get up on.
Right.
And just the nicest guy to work with. But man, he puts that mask on, and all of a sudden, his whole demeanor changes. He's just a silent menace. And I never knew what was going to happen. I just tried to joke with him, and he just didn't look like he wasn't getting it. He wasn't getting any of my humor. And it was kind of unnerving, I got to say. So, method all the way for Mr. Kane. He was great to work with.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate that.
And a great look. It was a great look.
Yeah, and out of the 4 different versions of the character I played, that one actually was the hardest to work in. Because for some reason, I've worn full body latex before, but that one was so incredibly hot. If you recall, I had to wear a cool suit underneath it that circulated ice water through a vest because I got so overheated that I couldn't even, and the hockey mask was built into the makeup. So it wasn't easy to just take off in between takes like I had been used to. So it was really, really hard to work in, but it looked cool as hell.
Mm-hmm. Well, since the character was a malignant spirit at that point, and we would see the reflections and stuff, I guess you were in the full makeup under normal sets with really bright normal lighting and stuff, as opposed to the shadows and the darkness. So that probably contributed a lot to the temperature issues.
Yeah.
So very much so. And Aaron, do you have a favorite Jason look?
Well, obviously, the only horror film I've seen is The House.
What?
And he was, I gotta tell you, having him trying to stick his tongue down my throat, looking
That wasn't my tongue, Aaron.
Oh.
No, I'm not saying that. No, don't go there.
He's going all underbelly on us.
Amy, that is not what I was referring to. It was a creature is what I'm referring
Yes.
to.
Oh, okay.
Don't get your hopes up, John.
I got to share one of my favorite moments of doing that movie is I asked my son, who was a teenager at the time, if he wanted to come see me shoot Friday the 13th, and it was a night shoot, and he said, "Nah, Mom, he'd been to too many sets." But my nephew said, "Yes, absolutely." He ended up coming on the set. He's like 6'5", and we're in the trailer, and he's one of those people who can be invisible but extremely helpful. So he was constantly helping the makeup people with, I need this brush. He would just hand it to them, whatever. They ended up hiring him after I left, and he ended up buying a makeup kit, going off to college, because the guys in the makeup room taught him how to do bullet wounds and sagging skin and whatever. And by the way, he runs my company, Heroes for Hire.
Wow.
And he said he went off to college. He made a fortune on Halloween. Man, he did every fraternity. They lined up for the knife wounds and the eyes falling off.
And what better guys to learn from than K&D guys?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Worked with the best. He went on to study theater. He ran theater here in Los Angeles for a while, and he ended up directing all the theater at Hamilton High School and Archer School for Girls. But he got his start on the Friday the 13th.
Oh,
So.
Wow.
Good story. Good story.
That is wonderful. Errol, thank you. That was a wonderful question. And a reminder to our audience, if you would like to chat with our guests like I am now, or purchase a personalized autograph, you can sign up at galaxycon.com. And let's go ahead and roll another one. And this comes from Francine. What was the strangest makeup you've ever had to wear? And you can draw from any facet of your career.
Well, I have an easy one for that. I did a movie called Nothing But Trouble with Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, John Candy, Demi Moore. And I doubled Dan Aykroyd as a character called Bobo. And it was, once again, full body latex, a big, huge, overweight baby wearing a diaper and galoshes and had a little tuft of hair on top of my head. That was the most bizarre one for me.
Yeah. I think I'd like to have seen you in a diaper.
Well, next few years you might. So.
Well, the weirdest one for me, I don't think you'll ever see me in for sure in real life, but I think it was an episode of Perry Mason or something like that. I was a nun and a hooker in the same episode.
Oh, yeah.
And being and a detective. So I was going undercover.
Right.
But being in that habit was quite the experience. Yeah, it was very interesting. I thought, wow, to spend your life like that, all buttoned up. Woo!
I gotta say, I've never had any crazy, strange makeup, and I just remember I'm very thankful that I haven't, because I certainly remember you sitting in the chair, Kane, and any number of the episodes of the TV series. I saw these people sitting in the chair for the longest time. It did not look like a fun way to spend a few hours. So
right, and especially when you consider that if it's an extensive makeup, I or people like myself are in the makeup chair as much as 3.5 hours before the call time, before the other actors even show up. We've been sitting in the makeup chair for 3.5 hours. And at wrap, everybody else gets to leave. We get to sit in the chair for another hour and a half getting it for you.
Whenever I get a lot of creature actors, I always say, so how long in the makeup chair? And then how long after? And that's always, the after is always the thing that nobody really recalls, which is about 40% of the application time.
Right.
That's crazy. So, Aaron, any makeup roles? You wore a few crazy wigs of Buck Rogers. I know that much.
Yeah, I wouldn't say makeup so much as I do remember my helmet on Buck Rogers was. Gil had one that was made for his head. I had the one that everybody and every guest star who came on the show got to wear. So it actually was quite large So if you ever see me on Buck Rogers, if I turned my head, the helmet would stay. So I had to turn with my entire body. It was one of those things. It was very annoying. It's tough enough to act, but then to have to act, and you can't be spontaneous. You have to, remember to turn the entire body. Yeah. So if you ever see any pictures of me, you'll notice quite how it doesn't really fit, but. Universal want to spend the money,
Indeed. So, Sean, you weren't in the chair, but what do you think was like the craziest effect or anything? You ever walk into a trailer or walk on the set, and you think, "Good God, what are you doing here?"
Oh gosh. Well, surely the most difficult thing that I was ever involved in was in Deep Star 6, where we had this monster from hell that was going to, make the shark in Jaws look like a wimp. And the night before we were getting ready to shoot, we had a full-on test, and I think it was about 20 feet long. I mean, it was really big. And it was in the tank, and it sunk. Flat out sunk. Nobody could move. I was like, what the fuck are we going to do with this? What kind of monster? Trying to make this thing. It's supposed to, it was the damnedest thing. It was just so. Man, that went on. It went on for the rest of the shoot, trying to figure out some way to salvage this monster and do somehow or other, make it scary. But we never had that big like Jaws, kind of shot, that kind of thing. But it was, that was.
I was in that thing at one point.
I know.
Swimming underwater with a regulator, with my hands like this, trying to make the mandibles move so it looked scary.
Yeah.
And it was heavy, and I tried to swim, and it was all going like this. And it was
as I recall, it was like part worm, part crab, sort of, like a giant tube worm.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah. It's not the first time done an aquatic thing and punk, it sank, and it's like, oh. So okay, we have a picture of Bobo. Let's go ahead and roll that one. It may not be you. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
That's exactly the character. I'm trying to see if one of those is me.
Yeah.
It looks like the middle one could
They
be.
all look like you, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. and
belly of the underbelly.
I was just talking about this last night at dinner to somebody that I knew that was a big budget film, because that entire head was all glued on my face and everything.
Wow.
And at lunch, they would remove it and then reapply it after lunch. And that's when you know you're on a big budget film, because there's not a rush to get everything shot. They would spend the time to let me eat properly and then reapply it. It was that's the only time it's ever happened.
Instead of just saying lunchtime, here's a straw.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta go to the bathroom? Here's a straw.
That's right. Here's a straw.
Yeah, here's a straw. Oh my goodness. Francine, thank you. Great question. I think we have time for one quick one. Let's see if we can roll out on a really fun one. Here's one from Matt. Ooh, if Jason was after you in real life, what would you do?
Run like hell.
I call Kane for help.
Yeah, we got friends.
My swords. One of my swords.
Yeah, there you go.
Cut his head off.
Yeah, I would say sprint, because for me, I never in 4 films ever ran as Jason.
Oh.
I always resisted that temptation or that idea that Jason would start running after somebody. I just thought it kind of weakened it. It's ridiculous that he still catches everybody, but I purposely never ran as the character.
That's a great pro tip.
Yeah.
Well, I would never have sex or do drugs.
Well, that's no fun.
But that is the best defense. That really is.
Don't do it.
If I recall, I believe
Don't
I
drink.
killed people that were doing other things besides just those two things.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, just don't let your feet stay under your, keep them moving. You're right.
And Amy, you just put on a sweater again, right?
Yeah, I put on a sweater. And, on this, we just have this new little piece of property, which needs a lot of tree clearing. So I just bought my own little personal size chainsaw. So I would have a sweater and I'd have my little chainsaw / pruner. I don't know what I'd do, but I just hope that the chain wouldn't come off like it keeps coming off right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You got to shoot some video of that, Amy.
Yeah, I should.
Post it, yeah.
It's not exactly scary or intimidating, but it's kind of fun.
It's very true. Matt, thank you. That was a great one. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast and creators of Friday the 13th, but it absolutely does not have to be yours. If you'd like to chat with our guests like I have today or purchase a personalized autograph, please sign up at galaxycon.com. And while you're there, please check out our schedule of upcoming events just like this one. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute delight. Any final words for our audience before we go?
Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep the positive attitudes,
Watch your back.
Ditto.
It has been my absolute pleasure to serve you all today. Once again, thanks for joining us on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Thank you to our audience for joining us today, and thank you all for your great questions. All you horror fans, hope to see you all again soon on May 1st, where GalaxyCon Live will be hosting more horror icons, Nick Castle, the original Michael Myers, Adrian Barbeau, and the master himself, John Carpenter. Until then, bye-bye, everyone. Take care, and please keep washing those hands.
Yeah.